I have been in the equity and the debt market. So I can see that the depth that you have in equity markets, maybe it is 500 stocks, but then there's fair amount of depth, you can execute your strategies comfortably. Whereas in the Indian debt markets, if you talk of government securities, liquidity is mostly concentrated on a few securities, and in corporate bonds, again, in a few select issuers. So in such a situation, do you find that there is a bit of difficulty in executing strategies, let us say a spread strategy? You want to play the GOI SDL spread or the GOI AAA spread. Do you find that the strategy is profitable, but the execution is a bit of an issue?
From the context of fixed income markets in India, we all relate one particular term that they're very shallow. And yes, I mean, like we say, grass on the other side is always green. As fixed income participants or traders, we feel equity is a lot more easier. Because if you don't understand something which is happening in one particular stock, you can always move to something else where you understand a little bit more, and they may be part of the same family. In fixed income, largely, everything comes on to only two people, government and RBI, or government and the central bank. You can assign some bit of fundamentals and take your views around it, but there is a little bit which goes in with the person sitting at the helm. And that makes it a little bit more difficult to execute or implement purely on the basis of fundamentals. And hence, all we have is only one vehicle to put across our views, and largely it is, GI 10. And everything else is an ancillary of this, or relative to the view on GI 10, where do you see other stuff? And within which, to complicate things a little bit more, you get a new tenure issued, which is outside of syllabus of a technical chart, because suddenly you see these new issuances coming 15-20 basis points below where your other tenure is trading. So again, you wait out for about 2-3 weeks. It disturbs the chart a little bit. But when there is a problem, there is a solution. So you learn through this and try to use a lot of other ancillary stuff to determine your views or execute your views. And one more thing which largely helps be it a trader or investor, there will be phases, maybe small, where there is no view. And be through that phase just to ensure that you're not digging so much holes, but that opportunity comes, all you're doing is just covering up the holes what you have dug through.
You mentioned ancillary tools. So does this intermarket analysis sort of help you out during those phases when there is no clarity?
The ancillary tools come often from the currency side. It can come from where commodities are. So these are the ancillary asset classes. Maybe tools may be the wrong word. Ancillary asset classes also which we look at. Example, last year, the currency was depreciating at a rapid pace, and yields were also blowing up, especially the second half of last year. And there was a fair bit of blow up which had already happened on both the asset class, and you needed some bit of base to determine till how long will this last. And as you're aware, generally noise gets exaggerated in the direction where things are flowing. And all you need is to remain immune from that and determine where the tide can change. I think the currency gave the first indication that its pace of depreciation is going to stop. And that gave a little bit of ammunition or a relatively higher probability to assign some risks on the rate side. In hindsight, it worked. But yes, those week 10 days are a little bit of edgy in terms of how you have read it, and hopefully it plays out.